guys, and welcome back to the lounge. My name's Phil Boileau, joined today with our guest Justin Rowan. He's the favorite here at Hoops Lounge. How you doing today, bud?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me back.
Anytime, anytime. So this week we're covering the contenders and the pretenders going into the 2014-15 season. And today we're going to start with the Eastern Conference. I know this is a baby of yours because it cradles your little Cleveland Cavaliers and who are dear to your heart. So let's kick this off right away. Let's maybe go back and forth. Who's an obvious contender and why do they deserve to be?
Okay, well, obviously the Cavs are a contender in the East. They've got three star players. They're complementary guys. They got Anderson Varejao, who's fantastic role player. They got number 4 overall picks in Dion Waiters and Tristan Thompson as complementary guys. They got Sean Marion, who played 32 minutes a game last year for Dallas. He's going to be in a reduced role, coming in off the bench. He fits perfectly there. He's a do-it-all kind of guy. And plus, they've got other solid players. I mean, it's almost assumed at this point that Ray Allen's going to come in. Even if he doesn't, it's a luxury. Mike Miller's good. I think they're an obvious contender in the East.
Okay, I mean, those naysayers who would say that obviously it's impossible to say they're not one of the best teams in the East, let alone the NBA. But those who would say, don't talk too fast, would say that, their wing and inside presence defensively isn't where it needs to be a championship contender. Would you say that maybe they're overplaying that, or do you think that's justified?
I think the biggest issue, center is obviously the weakest position. I think they have an issue with depth. Anderson Varejao's got questionable health. I hope he can stay healthy, but if he goes down, you either have an undersized Tristan Thompson playing at center or Brennan Haywood at this point. Now, there's been a lot of talk that they're going to be adding a center before the season starts, hopefully one that can provide some rim protection. On the perimeter, I don't know if it's that big of a concern. LeBron James is obviously a great defender. Sean Marion's a great defender. Dion Waiters was a fantastic defender in college. He's only going to get better with time. They got Tyronn Lue, who's studied under Doc Rivers, as well as Tom Thibodeau. So he's familiar with those defensive schemes and will be able to make up a lot of what they lack in talent.
Well, that makes sense. Okay, so that's an obvious one. Let's talk about a pretender in the East. Let's talk about a team that you thinks they should be there, thinks they can be there, who you think just has no real shot.
It hurts me to say this, but honestly, I think Washington's going to take a big step back. 3 of their main 4 pieces have been injury-prone in the past: John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Nene. Trevor Ariza was a massive part for them last year, and he's being replaced with Paul Pierce. They may move laterally in the East because internal growth with John Wall and that, but I don't think they've added a whole lot of talent, and I think the rest of the East is just really beefed up and kind of surpassed them.
All right, and in terms of the biggest competition to Cleveland for that Eastern Conference crown, this is a final note here. Do you think it's Raptors, the Heat, who a lot of people are sleeping on? They've added some nice pieces, could be good, or another team? Who do you think would be up there to duke it out at the end with Cleveland and maybe give them a good run?
I think Chicago's obviously going to be a contender there, but I think the top 4 in the East, in my mind, is Cleveland, Chicago. You'll find this interesting: Atlanta, and then Toronto. I think Toronto wins the division. Atlanta was a comfortable 3rd in the East last year. Then they just got ravaged by injuries. Cartier and Martin started games at center for them because they were that injured. You get back Al Horford. You get back Paul Millsap. Jeff Teague's going to be advanced. They add Thabo Sefolosha. And then even Adrian Payne in the draft. He's 22 years old. He's ready to contribute. He's got a man's body. I think, and they're one of the best coached teams in the league. So I think they're going to be a sleeper for sure in the East.
And I think my sleeper, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, actually is a team you didn't mention at all. Actually, the Charlotte Bobcats. It hurts me to say, but I think a team that was very gritty, played a lot of D, adding Lance Stevenson and one of my favorite players in the draft because of his massive hands and ability to stretch the floor, Noah Vonleh. They didn't lose any talent. They got better. They're a pretty young squad, and Would you throw them in the mix, or is it not their time yet?
Oh, for sure. I really like Charlotte. I was pumping their tires actually a couple weeks ago. I love their team. I think they're 10 deep. Power forward's obviously their weakest position. Volna is missing 8 weeks. I don't know if you saw that, so that kind of hurts them. Marvin Williams and Cody Zeller are their backups. But I think they got a ton of defensive potential. And they do have guys that can shoot. Gerald Henderson's coming in off the bench. Gary Neal's there. Don't they have Ramon Sessions as backup point guard? Or
Mm-hmm.
no, they got Brian Roberts from New Orleans. That's who they got for a backup point guard. I love him. So yeah, I could definitely see them land in the top four. It all comes down to Al Jefferson's health, in my opinion.
All right. And to wrap up of all the East, whoever comes out of the East, do you think they have a legit, contention in those finals, or do you think it's a West walk for this one?
I don't think it's a West walk. It definitely depends who they meet in the West. There's some tough teams there, but I think it comes down to how tough those Western teams are on the interior. If it's, let's say, a Dallas where you got Dirk and an older Tyson Chandler that made it to the finals, then I could see a Eastern Conference team winning. I'm obviously picking Cleveland to make the finals. It's going to be pretty tough to stop that offensive machine. So we'll see how things shake down.
Exactly. All right, well, thanks, Justin. So this has been a wrap-up of the Eastern Conference. Make sure to follow Justin on his Twitter handle, which we'll put in the description of this video, and catch us next time for a Western Conference contender or pretender. My name is Phil Boileau, Justin Rowan. Thanks for being in the lounge. Later.